Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Galaxy of Heroes tier list. Today we're going to be talking all about the Journey Guide. Now, I've ranked the Journey Guide a few times before, but today we're going to talk about it a little bit in different contexts, focusing mainly on value. And the way I am thinking about this, and I didn't do any math behind it or anything, I think about it as how good the unit is, the character, because I'm only doing characters, not ships, how good the requirements are, if it does require other characters, and how difficult it is to get them. So, or divided by how difficult it is to get them. So if they have a really high degree of difficulty to unlock, that's going to hurt them. But the quality of the requirements and the quality of the character are going to lean in their favor. So including solo journeys and guild journeys. So we got like Riva and Watt in there. But not like Leviathan, Profundity, any of that. No conquest units or anything. So let's get into it. Now, right off the bat, the F tier might be a surprise to some people. I have Ki-Adi-Mundi as the absolute worst. Is he a better character than Rollo in BB-8? Yes, 100%. But he is probably the single most difficult unit in the game to unlock in 7 stars. Like fully unlocked at 7 stars. You need to be in a guild that runs an obsolete territory battle that is in a lot of ways harder than the current up-to-date one. It requires a lot more skill for a lot of these combat missions, and it requires a large amount of guild participation with 501st. It's a tricky mission. Otherwise, you can build them with just sheer get 3, which some of the biggest whales in the world will not do, and you're kind of stuck waiting for a lightspeed bundle, or not a token, lightspeed bundle for him specifically. It needs to change. He's a decent unit, but he's not world changing, and therefore his difficulty brings him down entirely so much that I have him at the bottom of F tier. Rollo is very easy to get, and she is a requirement for Jedi Knight Luke, who is also a requirement for Jabba and Jedi Master Luke, so she has a little bit more value than Cam. Cam is not required for anything. BB-8, it's easy to get, even fully. And I guess he's a little bit better than Rollo, I'd say. You could use it with droids. He's basically just a requirement for Jedi training Rey in my mind. He's a requirement for Rey and Jedi Master Luke, but really obsolete, like really a complete afterthought of a legendary. It's crazy that BB-8 is even a legendary, but it is. So that's our F tier. In the D tier, we have Padme, Yoda, Grandmaster Yoda, Jedi training Rey, and Watt. So Watt is also down in the dumps. Although he is at the top of the D tier as opposed to the bottom of F tier like Ki-Adi-Mundi. Watt is better than Cam, does have some more functionality, but it's, I think it's waning all the time. The only real great recurring value has been sticking with Sith Eternal Emperor. Now, Watt used to be a lot better because his weapon tech used to make the ignore defense, so it actually did more damage, hence the weapon tech. Now it's just turn meter tech, prevent, revives tech. But really the value for him now is either a med pack, which is a little bit of healing, or the tank tech. People usually just use the tank tech. Sure, he's okay in a trench team, which is only really good in TW, which is very low priority of a game mode for most players, I'd say. And if you're like a smaller guild, there's a ton of better options than to like go full bore on a trench team that requires a conquest unit that takes forever to get. I don't know. But he's super hard to get. So he's okay. He's better than Cam, but he's still very hard to get. Same problem. Not as bad, though, because the mission's easier. It's more accessible. A lot of guilds will run Darkside GOTB and Rise of the Empire TB instead of Lightside TB. So he is a little bit more accessible in that regard. And he is required for Jedi Master Kenobi, so that bumps him up. But yeah, he's really fallen off. Jedi training Rey shouldn't be a huge surprise. I already said it, required for Galactic Legends Rey and Jedi Master Luke. She's a decent lead. You could use her in Rise of the Empire lead with Galactic Legend Rey, and she works better in some circumstances. She's the PvE version of her is good in Conquest and pretty annoying, but otherwise just kind of a throw-in on the Rey team. There's not a lot of theory crafting around her. Zori took her place with the scraps of the Resistance. Grandmaster Yoda, it pains me to put him here. He's one of my favorites. He used to be one of my favorites. He was my first Relic character ever in 2019. He helped me climb Squad Arena, but he's so squishy. His damage doesn't scale well. It doesn't keep up with the modern meta. And, you know, he's got some nice stuff. I still love his buff spread. He's like the best character that doesn't have any unique abilities. I'll give him that. But he is so easy. So he could even be bumped up to C tier. Just his quality is so low that's what pushes him down. But he is one of the easiest characters to get. Padme, not quite as easy as Yoda. A little bit more difficult with the Separatists. It's any Separatist, but the mission is a little bit harder. The Yoda one's a piece of cake, and she's likewise just not as relevant. You can put her on a JMK team. She's off in the 5th there, but that's her real value. But she's very replaceable. You could put a bunch of stuff there that's better than her. So I don't know. Maybe you'd want to put her over Yoda in terms of quality of a character, but she's just a little bit harder. So I just bumped her down to the D tier. I used to have this theory that her and Cat were just so great together. But as I unlocked Cat and had Padme on my GoTanks account, that belief became shattered because I wasn't able to find any real repeatable great use for them, and Cat's kind of just tied to JMK, and Padme is just kind of an add-on there. I mean, she's got some good stuff going for her, but yeah, D tier among the Journey Guide. You got to think of it in terms of like compared with itself. They're all Journey Guide units. They're all better than like Ugnaught, current Datacron notwithstanding, like Ugnaught and Hoth Rebel Soldier, all those bad units. Don't think of it like that. This is ranked just Journey Guide to Journey Guide, so they're all still great characters. Next up for C tier, we start getting to some higher quality here, but still some hit or miss. So we have IPD, which I previously had as F tier, with the ISB, definitely a lot stronger. And I don't know how it's going to shake out. We're just coming off the heels of like a focused Datacron for ISB, and IPD was pretty annoying with it. However, it's very easy to get set with the Guild Event 2 tokens. It doesn't take a whole ton of time. It's not like getting Moody or Watts. And yeah, just on a decent team. So I don't know. It's more viable. Like I would be less surprised to see IPD around than Yoda on defense. But yeah, Grand Inquisitor. I put him a little lower. So what's really bringing him down is probably the difficulty of getting him. So you need all these 5 Inquisitors at Relic 5. That's definitely the steepest requirement. That's more requirements than anyone below him in terms of like a true legendary Journey Guide unlock where you just need certain characters. So it's a really high price of admission. So that's what's bringing him down more. His quality is higher than I'd say Thrawn or C-3PO or Chewbacca, especially with the Scythe. And once you have Reva, he's great and he's going to be viable and relevant for a long time. But yeah, that difficulty really bring him down. Thrawn, I put him above. He's not a better character than Grand Inquisitor or probably even like Watt or something, but he's very easy to get. Just Phoenix. Just pretty low gear. They don't need to be relics or anything. Just 5 Phoenix, which pretty much everyone is going to waltz into. He's got a capital ship, and he's also a requirement for Balin. So I think he is a very decent value. C-3PO. Pretty high quality, but falling off a bit. We're not going to be once Star Killer loot comes into the game. C-3PO is going to get bumped off that CLS team. That CLS team was already kind of irrelevant at the high end of Kyber 1. Still a great early game team, great in Conquest for a great initiative. You could do other stuff with C-3PO. You could put him with Queen Amidala. So his quality is there. He's more difficult-ish to get just with Ewoks, but maybe it's my old school player memory kicking in here. Because if you just have a few relic Ewoks, they're gonna waltz all over the event. But yeah, so he's still getting up there and bumped a little bit down for somewhat of difficulty, and like the quality of like Ewoks suck. So that's kind of the biggest thing bringing him down, the quality of what's required to unlock him. Then Chewbacca, he is a little bit difficult with bounty hunters if you're like a brand new player, but if you have some relic characters, it's not that hard. However, I don't think he is like carrying anything. He's got the Illuminating Falcon, which is great, but I think he kind of still plays second fiddle to Han solo. Like he has to go with Han. I'd rather use Han somewhere than Chewbacca, and part of that's because Han has a mercenary tag. But he is the one going first. Chewbacca just ignoring crits alone and stun isn't enough to make him super valuable anymore. That being said, he is still the top of the C tier, but this is still kind of the bottom half of the Journey Guide. In the B tier, we have our greatest amount of characters, and this is where we start to have some really solid quality, kind of indisputable quality. And we got some characters that are pretty difficult to get, so they might not totally be worth that effort. Some that are easy, that aren't better. Like Palpatine is not better than Malak, I wouldn't say, but he's a lot easier to get, and he's still really good. So Malak we have at the bottom, probably better than everyone in this row except Riva, I would say, but he is a little bit unduly difficult to get at this stage. Not because he requires super high relic units, although that definitely helps a lot. It's just he requires so many units. He requires a lot of Old Republic characters because you need to have everyone that unlocks Jedi Revan and Darth Revan, and you need to have them built up to a certain power level, and the event is actually pretty tricky if you don't want to overinvest in anything. That being said, he is great. He is a requirement for the Leviathan. He's just a beast of a guy. So really his difficulty bringing him down. So I'm trying to think of this in terms, this is kind of meant to be like which farms are worthwhile. Although it does get a little confusing. Like Yoda, you're going to get Yoda, whether it's super worthwhile or not, just because it's so easy. Aphra. She's a pass for me as a Journey Guide unit for my like late mid-game account, Gotenks, which is almost 10 million. Still don't have plans to go for her, but she has been juiced up recently with IG90. She's not that hard to get. She can be a Galactic Legend. She does have nodes and TB, so she has some good value there. Riva, better than anyone in this row. I'd say probably including Cassian. We'll have to see how it shakes out. His focus Datacron's gone, but I haven't been able to see him in action yet. Just Riva is so difficult to get for most players. If you were a massive whale and you join an endgame guild, and they don't really, I don't think a guild's gonna care that much if you can't do the Riva mission, because pretty much everyone there has Riva. But if you're like a brand new whale, that'd be so easy. It'd just be a few rotations. You could get it in like seven TBs, which is 3.5 months. But if you're a new player, smaller account, I'm over 2.5 years in with Gotenks, and I still don't have Riva. I'm close, but it's just a long gate. It's a collective action problem, so that's what's really bringing her down. But really high quality of a unit. Cassian, kind of up in the air, like I said. Out of the era of eras, like since we've been getting new legendaries every 3 months for the past year, he's the worst out of those, I'd say. Needs rebel. He goes with the characters that unlock him, so that's in his favor. As far as like quality of units, but even when we had a focus Datacron for him, like you could run the 3v3 team was almost better without him. You just have a different leader in there, as in Saw. This kid is so dependent on Luthen, so I don't know if he's super high up there. Palpatine, as a unit, he's had several phases to his lifespan. He was just a general standalone, like he's the guy. Put him with Darth Vader. Just his lead is great. And the Mara Jade, he goes with Starkiller, is fantastic. And he still uses Mara Jade, but he goes with Darth Vader Dual Zen now. Has found a way to be relevant for a long time. So I really think Palpatine's a super solid farm. Just needs Rebels. As easy as can be as a farm. And just really, really great unit. Trying to get Revan. Maybe it's a little high, maybe not. He's really easy to get. Just a few units. They don't need to be high. You can do it with like Zalbar and mission at like year 1 or something, or like Zalbar is maybe like year 7 or something. You did not need to invest heavily, but he's just kind of a supporting unit to like a Jedi Master Luke at this point, or a Satele Shan if you have her. But honestly, it's for new players probably easier to get Jedi Master Luke than Satele Shan. But it's really fantastic with those teams. Bam. I gave a little bit of a bump just because of his ship, and he's going to be required for the new, or I'm assuming he's going to be required for the new version of himself as a Galactic Legend. Not super difficult, but he is also required for Bo-Katan, so there is a lot of value to be had there. As a unit on his own, kind of crap, but his ship is really just sensational, so I'll rank him up there. CLS, really easy to get. They're kind of giving him away now with these anniversary tokens, and he's just, I don't know, solid lead. I could see him getting bumped down lower. I just his quality is up there, but really the ease of access is bumping him up a little bit more. I rank him above Chewbacca, but not above Han Solo, because Han Solo is super easy to get. But that team's overall pretty useful. And Chewbacca is a lot harder to unlock than CLS. Like his event is just a lot more difficult. So that's B tier. I think that's our largest tier. And the A tier. Okay, actually the same size as B. So getting to the cream of the crop, as they say, or approaching it at least. We got R2, Han Solo, Gas, General Kenobi, Jedi Master Mace, Darth Revan, Jedi Luke, and Jar Jar. So R2-D2 was really hard for me to get my mind around, but I pick a spot for him to go, because honestly, he is not the best unit until you have Galactic Legend Leia. Once you have Leia, he's fantastic. He doesn't leave her side. Him and Drogon are the two that are just attached at the hip to Leia. And a lot of times, if I, like a TB, if I need Drogon for a Rebel Fighter mission and I have R2 in there, we still get it done with like a couple other randos. So fantastic, does tons of damage, really easy to get. But since he's trash without Leia, I'd say I didn't put him in like that much higher in the A tier. Han Solo, this is a factor of ease of acquisition. So him, General Kenobi, and Traya are technically Journey Guide units, but they are by far the easiest ones to acquire. I'd say probably even easier than like the likes of Yoda or Palpatine, because all you need to do is get like 2 raids worth of currency for that raid type 1 currency, and you can unlock them 7 stars. So that's what's kind of bumping up Han Solo. He's the lowest of those 3. Still great. He's captain on the Millennium, or like he's a pilot on the Millennium Falcon. Great for that early initiative. So that's why I rank him above Commander Luke. He is easier to get, but also that's just so valuable. You use him with mercenaries, use him with smugglers or whatever. I just like that initiative. Gas, way better than Han and R2, honestly. But he's a little difficult to get your hands on. He does have a lot of value. He's required for multiple GLs. He's required for Lord Vader. He's required for Ahsoka. I think he's required for GL Hondo. So there's a lot of value there. He's decent on his own. The 501st team overall doesn't rate super highly anymore. But he's among characters that are plug and play. He's pretty phenomenal. Just prevents crits from attacking out of turn, reducing health, increasing cooldowns, double hits. Super great stats, really tanky, lots of damage. I think he's a sensational character. I think people just get tunnel vision on 501st not being that great. But he just does require a lot. There's a lot of different units that are pretty built up. It's easier than it has been to get them, but you still, at the end, and I forgot to mention this from Al, you unlock them at 5 stars, and then you need to spend a ton of get 1 or raid Mark II currency. So just very expensive. I definitely put Gas over Malik, though, in terms of value and quality. General Kenobi, same discussion that I had for Han Solo. Really, really easy to acquire. And just a solid plug-and-play unit. Like, you can go anywhere on any team. Put him with Rey. It's been very popular with Rey. You put him with JMK. Most of his kit is not that tied to Galactic Republic. It's just really his Zeta, but he's going to taunt when anyone gets crit. He's going to pass out crit immunity like crazy, cleanse anybody, call anybody to assist, hands out foresight like crazy. So he's awesome. Jedi Master Mace, just a little bit above them, because I do think I am taking Jedi Master Mace over most, in terms of quality, over most characters below him. Even over like Gas or Cassian. Maybe not Reva, just Reva's so difficult to get. He is not that easy to get, but he's got great quality requirements. Deepa Balaba and Temple Guard go with him, and then the 4 clone troopers that are needed for a Lord Vader team are great, and you could use them with Tarkin. So I don't know. I feel like some people might think this is high, but I think he's a great quality unit. Very strong, underrated. I haven't gone for him myself on Go takes or anything, but I've kind of hit the point of like, GL farming and stuff. Darth Revan, the pilot to the best capital ship in the game, over 3 years running now. Not very hard to unlock. If you have any level of investment beyond the minimum, just requires 5 characters at 7 stars. You can get it done with like not much more than like a gear 11. So not hard to unlock. Quality is really high. Him and Malak, I mean, I usually rate Malak as a better character than him, but I do think Darth Revan's more valuable in terms of, the ship and just ease of acquisition. So I think he's up there. Like, I think he's the early game farm that gets overlooked. I think him and Bastila Fallen, and then just add a third. I can still get a lot of good stuff done in the early game. And yeah, he's just not that difficult to work with. Jedi Knight Luke, kind of the grind of a mini Galactic Legend, just because he requires so many units at Relic 3, but he is really great, and you need him to unlock Jabba and Jedi Master Luke, and he's going to be awesome in TB and the assault battle. He helps you walk all over it. He's going to be getting his lifter in Mara Jade. So that's going to bump him up, I'm sure, in terms of viability. Not that we have her yet. It's a bit theoretical, but I think he's still just really nice. AoE stun, irresistible. So good that you had to write caveat clauses into Mara Jade's kit to prevent him and Jedi Master Luke from getting at both. Then Jar Jar. I think he's a really solid unit. Just barely missed the S tier for me. Probably because he's just not like a GL killer. But super valuable farm. Like, his requirements are his team. So that's a super high value thing for me. And something we haven't seen in any of these characters down here. And that's part of why he's so high, and that's a big factor in the S tier. Is what you farm to get the unit is what you need with the unit. So you get the 4 Gungans, you get him unlocked as the 5th Gungan, you have a full Gungan team. There's nothing extraneous, no bad requirements. And it's kind of a mandated group. You have to have all 5 of those if you're going to have a team in 5v5, unless I guess you could underman, but you can't have any other characters in there. So Jar Jar is super annoying. He continues to be a team that surprises me with all the debuffs, damage potential, very durable. Doesn't take much for them to pop off. We're kind of seeing that right now with this defense to offense Quran for attackers. Where Tarpals and Boomadir hit for crazy amounts of damage because they have so much defense to start with. But their mechanics are really useful to, like, they always kind of come out as a niche counter to maybe a newer team, or like an option, like maybe even a Hail Mary sometimes. But really great legendary and team there with the Gungans. And that's our A tier. And the moment you've all been waiting for, the cream of the crop, the true top of the heap, our S tier. We got 7 units. Jedi Cal, New Maul, Spiderlegs Maul, Rada the Hutt, Shreya, Starkiller, Bo-Katan, and Balin as the very top. So I'll talk about Balin first as the top. Balin is the quintessential journey guide farm. I think he's fantastic. His requirements include his team, Marak and Shin, and it's not a full team of 5 that goes with him, but that team has a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of mercenaries out there. You just need those 3 as the core team. That's what you're going to use for 3v3. In addition to that, you get the basis of a foundational, fundamental, sensational team, the Great Mothers. Great Mothers alone is something that props him up so much. So Great Mothers and Morgan are part of his farm. Great Ambor Thrawn is part of it too. I was drawing a blank on his name. But yeah, just the quality of his requirements and the strength of the character, just unparalleled as far as a journey guide farm. Sure, there's other units that are better, but you're not getting like a double team with it. And then it's not too far removed that you get the Pretty Pals as part of it. There's just so much flexibility there. So many different debuffs. Great in Conquest. Takes down JMK with ease. Can take down Rey. It's just such a good, like, take down JML. Like, he's a multi-GL killer. And often, like, the answer to a lot of things that are really difficult that aren't GLs. So him and Bo-Katan too just really set the bar for value in a Journey Guide farm. When they came out, they seemed hard because it was the new units, and endgame players didn't have those units yet. But now that they've come and gone, and their characters have been accelerated, they're just the top of the heap. Bo-Katan, even better than Balin, has her team as her requirements. Fewer requirements too. She requires 4 characters instead of 5, but 3 of those are Bam. What's his face? Paz Vizsla and IG-12. So that's 4 of her 5 characters she needs. You got a full team for 3v3. She's also the gatekeeper unit to a whole planet in TB, which is tons of added value for a guild. And unlike some farms that are like good for like a TB, it's just no sacrifice at all for a selfish player like myself in Grand Arena. She is great at taking down Lord Vader. Even with the clones in a lot of circumstances, you need to have her built well and have things figured out. She's awesome there. She can beat JMK. So we got multiple GLs that she can beat. She could probably beat JML too. I bet she could potentially beat Sith Eternal. I don't know. Not necessarily like the biggest defensive threat, but still great there. Starkiller, I think he's just such a strong unit, and I have him above Spiderlegs Maul for now because I do think he is less dependent on having a conquest unit. So yes, the Stranger Team, Starkiller, and Maul is the bee's knees. It's a great team. It's a lot more difficult, especially at this junction, to get Spiderlegs Maul because the characters are so new. And he's coming around on rotation. That does factor into it. But I think Starkiller is the standalone star of the team. Now, I do rate Spider-Maul as a better character. But I do think Starkiller at this junction is easier to get. He's got quality requirements. I think Spiderlegs Maul's requirements are also really great too. But it's just kind of the difficulty bumping him down. And if you could only have one, I would still rather have Starkiller the Spiderlegs Maul. I don't know if Spiderlegs Maul is like an offensive threat to take down multiple GLs if you don't have Stranger and you don't have Starkiller. I mean, putting him with Starkiller, I haven't seen it much, but him with Starkiller without Stranger would probably be really good. But Starkiller's unique is really amazing there. Open to disagreement, I don't know. But Starkiller is phenomenal in so many different ways. Treya bumps up this high mainly because she's so easy. So she is the easiest endgame team to get because she has the same thing going on as General Kenobi and Han Solo. Really easy, just a straight currency farm. You can get a lot of shards at once. You can get her in like a few days on a new account, like as long as you join a guild and they finish the raid. Just really easy. Not necessarily like a GL killer team, but a really solid option on defense and offense, and just something you can never underestimate. That Omicron really just catapulted her to the top here. Now, in terms of quality, I would put her under everyone else in this S tier. Maybe Cal, but just her ease really got her up there. Rod of the Hutt, pretty difficult to get, but hard to argue that he's not a sensational unit. Quality is his team. I don't know how good that New Republic team's going to be. We'll have to see, but they are going to be probably all required for new GL Mando, so that's some good value there. And I mean, he's a sensational unit. Solo threat to take out so many different Galactic Legends. I haven't done it quite myself yet, but his difficulty of acquisition is still pretty up there as being the newest release. So there's just kind of like at this point in time, like a few months to a year from now, if this video is old by the time you watch it, he's up there. I'd put him, I don't know, over everyone except maybe Bo and Balin, but I don't know, we'll see. Jedi Cal, similar thing going on with Bo, but just not quite as good. He's not the star of his own show. He's just an add-on to like a JML team, or if you're really stretching, like a Giant Luke team. But his value is in, he's really easy to farm. It's only gear 12 units. They're high-quality units for the most part. You got most of an Uvu team, or like the foundations of an Uvu team with Seer and Uvu Cal. Marin is a decent Night Sister unit, can go with Great Mothers as a solid 3rd or 5th, depending on what mode you're in. And, Tarful and whoever else. Not all shiners, but He's required to go to Zepho, so him and Bo-Katan are in a category of their own, where they're required to unlock a new planet in TB, which has significant benefits for the entire guild. So I think those are great value points. And like Bo, but to a lesser degree, it's not something you need to feel bad about, or like feel averse to doing as a selfish player. I'm a pretty selfish player, but he's great on his own, and he's great for the whole guild. So that's it. That's the Journey Guide ranked from top to bottom. It's a little top heavy, but I hope that the Journey Guide is full of a lot of quality characters too. Apologies if it's a little hard to follow the logic, you know, with that three-part equation that I didn't actually do an equation. I didn't sit down and do numbers like I do with the Galactic Legend ranking. That could take like a week or something to think through all that. But happy to hear thoughts from everybody. Hope everyone followed the point. This is not just in terms of the strength of each unit. Even tried to emphasize it with this tagline up here. That's a good deal. Yeah, happy to hear your thoughts. So let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.